warriors. This is Pangia North Star. I want to have an amazing topic for you guys tonight. We're talking about why most awakened empaths lack motivation. This is a really good one, you guys. I know people who are experiencing this may be wondering, like, man, where did my motivation go? As well as maybe people from the outside looking in, maybe watching and saying, if this is what being awakened looks like, do I want that? Might I want to stay asleep? So, you guys, um, we are not just talking about empaths tonight. I want to make that clear. I'm talking about everyone, starseeds, light workers, healers, just people, period, who are waking up. Why does it appear that many are lacking motivation? There's a very good reason for this. There are a few reasons for this, but there's a primary one that perhaps you haven't considered, and I want to bring that to the forefront. Before I get into that, let me go ahead and introduce myself really quickly. Again, my name is Pangia Northstar. I am an empath. I'm a sound therapist. I am a Reiki practitioner and also a content creator for the Elemental Soul, which is an app you can download through your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. There is lots of beautiful content there based on spirituality and aligning with your soul journey. And there's also a community aspect of it. We have a private uh, group in which we meet with members of our community, all of the subscribers. And this is my soul family. So I encourage all of you to check it out. If you like my content, you can find more content like this there. Okay, so why is it that many awakened souls appear to be lacking motivation? This is a big one, you guys. The first one is because they are beginning to release their trauma, beginning to heal their trauma. And previously, trauma was a big motivator. Okay, think about this. And I experienced this myself, you guys. So this is something, I'm always discussing things with you guys that I've experienced myself. When you get to a place in your healing journey where you are no longer motivated by, I don't ever want to turn out like so and so in my family, or I don't ever want to become poor or be poor again, or I don't ever, want to feel unsafe or feel unsafe again, right? Or even comparing yourself to other people, comparing yourself to how someone else is living, or comparing yourself to what somebody told you you'll never be and you'll never accomplish. Okay? That falls under the category of trauma. And those can be major drivers for people. So when you're no longer um, connected to those traumas and identifying with those traumas, and those traumas were driving you, you have to identify new motivation, right? There has to be a point at which you identify a new reason for why you do what you do, or maybe what you do is changing. Okay, this happens for most people who are awakening. They may leave jobs, they may leave their home, they may move away, they may leave long-standing relationships, they leave the friend groups that they were previously connected to. Okay, because a lot of times these things are motivated by trauma and what you don't want, rather than, there's a big difference. I look at it like this: there's a huge difference in living your life running from what you don't want and running towards what you do want. And many awakened souls, for the first time in their lives, are no longer identifying with what they don't want. Okay? And as you come into the room, please say hello. I'd love to see your greetings and have you participate in the conversation. Can you relate to that? Are you at a place in your spiritual journey, right, in your healing journey, where you're no longer identifying with your traumas? So now you kind of have to rearrange how you live your life, since it's no longer based on the things that you don't want. Are you in a place where you're trying to identify what you do want? That is a really big one, especially for empaths. You've been immersed in and probably absorbing, everyone else's traumas, everyone else's goals and desires all of your life, right? But there comes a time when you start to separate yourself from that. And that brings us to number two. Reason number two. If number one made sense to you, give me some fire in the chat and maybe let me know what you've changed due to the fact that you're no longer driven by your trauma. Your trauma's not in the driver's seat. Okay? I'm not saying you have to ignore it. We're definitely talking about addressing and healing it, but it can't rule your life anymore. Okay? So, number two, you're in the process of sorting out your identity, i.e., your desires, your beliefs, your emotions from the collective now. Okay? You're in the process of sorting all of that out. So while you're in that process, this is my baby Max here. He likes to jump in my lap and talk to you guys too. You're in the process of sorting out your identity from the collective. It has to happen. It has to happen, right? Especially when, if you've gone your whole life not realizing that you were an empath and you thought that all of the feelings that you were feeling were your own and you didn't realize you were absorbing other people's emotions like a sponge. I was in my 30s before I learned what an empath was. And I was highly empathic. But because people in my immediate surroundings, in my family, in my friend group, certainly not on my job, they weren't talking about it, right? So how do you finally sort that out for yourself? How do you discover it and then sort it out? Once you discover it, you now have this thing on your plate, this job of sorting out, well, what are my feelings? What are my desires? How do I feel about this particular topic? What's my goal in life? You know, do I really want to chase after the things that society tells me I should chase after? Are those really the things that'll make me happy, or is there something else that seems to motivate me, some another space in which I feel at home? Are there other things in my life that I feel I should pursue that will make me happy other than what I've been told to desire? Yeah, this is huge for empaths. This is huge for star seeds. This is huge for healers, right? There may be a totally different set of things that will make you happy and make you feel fulfilled and aligned with your soul's journey, other than what you've been encouraged or maybe a little conditioned and programmed to chase after. If that makes sense, give me some fire in the chat. Give me some fire in the chat. If you are sorting that out, put in the comments, sorting it out. Let me know. This is something that just went to a new level for me. And I'm talking about sorting out my feelings from the collective. As star seeds and empaths, there are lots of times when we are feeling certain emotions. There may be a particular day where you just feel like a wave of energy. And you're like, man, I feel some kind of way today. And I don't know why. This particular issue is really bothering me today. And I'm not sure why. I just woke up today. This is how I was feeling. Nothing in my life has really changed. But this particular issue is really heavy on me today. A lot of the times, majority of the time, that is energy coming in from the collective. If you are a highly empathic person, you're able to feel the emotions that are in the collective of humanity. I'm talking about the collective consciousness. Okay? Let me make that really clear. Okay? So we've got a comment. I've been sorting out my belief systems about my self concept. Like, do I really feel like I'm not good enough, or is that collective energy I'm picking up on? Yes. Perfect example. Perfect example. Right? So this is something that this is a wall or an issue that we're all gonna hit, we're all gonna come upon along this journey. Like, is it true that I'm not good enough? And this could be, in a lot of different areas of your life. Or is this just something that I've been told? Because when you are an empath, a healer, a star seed, whatever the case may be, you tend to move a little different. And, there are, at the very least, there are things that come up inside of you that seems, and I'm not going to say seems opposite, that are opposite of what society is telling you. And you're like, but I know, in my heart, this feels true to me. This feels important for me, or I feel good about living my life this way or pursuing that in my life. This is my happy place. But, you know, the rest of the world or my family or whatever is telling me, that's not important. The most important thing in my life should be money, right? Or the most important thing in my life should be um, having a partner. All of the things, having a fancy car, or, all of the things that we're told are important, certain types of accomplishment, right? We're told all of our lives that those things are important. And maybe for you, that doesn't feel like the biggest priority in your life. Your value system is probably quite different than those around you. So, yeah, you know, deciding that you are good enough and what that's based on for you is very important, and it's your right to do so. Okay? So, as I was saying, there are going to be days when you're feeling these huge waves of emotion, these huge waves of energy coming up from the collective consciousness of humanity. And over time, you guys, over time, I really want you to practice with deciding not that you don't have to feel that every day. Okay? This is a wide misconception I want to address right here real quick. There's a wide misconception among empaths that we're just here to suffer and that we have to feel everyone's emotions around us. And this is somehow, our job. And that's, we're just like here to suffer and you're a sponge and you don't have a choice. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Is part of the reason we're here to help transmute the energy that's here? Yes. Yes. That's a service to Mother Gaia, right? And we are doing one of the things, we are helping to fulfill one of the purposes of God, Creator, Source by transmuting some of the energy that's here. Yes. But do you have to sit around and do that every day and feel that every day and be overcome by those emotions? Absolutely not. You have freedom of choice. You have free will. In any given day, you can get up and say, you know what, today I am not processing anybody's emotions but mine. I'm good today. No, thank you. Okay? And I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm saying this is a skill that you develop when you begin to intentionally engage with your soul's journey, when you begin to intentionally engage with your gifts. Because empathy is a gift. Being an empath is a gift. We've been given the misconception that it's a curse, it's some kind of burden to bear. It's really not. It's a way in which, when you learn how to use it intentionally, how to cultivate it and trust it, you can use it to help people. If you're an empath, you probably have an innate desire to help people. You can use it to help people, but you don't have to. You don't have to. That's your choice. Okay? You don't have to feel everybody's emotions all the time. Okay? And this is something, that I've been going deeper into recently. Just like, you know what? When I'm able to sense that, wait a minute, there's this huge wave of anxiety or grief or whatever, coming from the collective today. You know, I'm here as a Black woman. So there are certain issues that are common among Black women that some days feel really big for me. Now, personally, in real life, does that really bother me? Do I really have a desire for those things? Not particularly, but are there days where they seem huge to me? Yeah. So I've learned now to say, you know what? That's not what I'm thinking about today. I'm working on this today, and that's it. But it takes time. Okay? It takes time to practice and get to that level of comfort and mastery over whatever your particular gifts as an empath, a starseed, a healer are. Okay? All right. So sorting out your identity, your beliefs, your emotions from the collective, that's a big one. That can take up a lot of your energy, and it can leave you feeling zapped. Okay? It can leave you feeling and looking like you have no motivation. Okay? But really, you're just going through a phase in your life, in your journey, where you're sorting out who you are from who everyone else is, which you've been immersed in and processing all of your life. Give me some fire in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, now, number three, another reason why you may be lacking motivation. Greetings, Miss Fortitude. Another reason you may be lacking motivation or appear to be lacking motivation, trying to, re-identify your drive, your ambition, all of those type of things. As an awakened empath, starseed, or healer, it's because you are isolated from other empaths, starseeds, and healers. Okay? Stay with me. Follow me here. Okay? Now, when this one says true already. Miss Fortitude says true. Yeah. Yeah. Now, yeah, so because we tired. Yes. Yes. You already know where I'm going. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You get tired when you always feel like you're the only one. When you're isolated from other people like you, your value system, your beliefs, your priorities, the way you would like to see things in the world going, or just things in your life going. When that always feels like an uphill battle, because you're the only one around that thinks this way or feels this way or doesn't understand why the world is not a more harmonious place, why people can't just be happy for each other and support each other and be loving towards one another. Why, can't we see that there's space and room for everyone to be here and live their best life? When it feels like you're the only one trying to heal, it feels like drudgery, right? It's exhausting. It is exhausting, right? And yes, there may be an initial period in your life where it's good to isolate, or there may be intermittent periods in your life where you find it healthy or necessary to isolate yourself, to do some cocooning, which we talked about last week. Yeah, that's true. There are those times. However, ultimately, it is really good and it can serve you really well to connect with other people like you. You are not alone. You're not alone here, here, here. We're out here, here, here. There are other empaths, star seeds, and healers. Okay? Just because right now you may not know any or you may not know many, it doesn't mean there aren't many of us here. Okay? And like we talked about last week, finding your tribe. We talked about ways, to find your tribe using that 99 portal, that 999 portal energy, which is still here. Okay? Um, finding your tribe, finding your soul family, your frequency family, it can serve you really well. When you're not surrounded by anyone else like you, you're not connected with anyone else like you, it can be so difficult. It's so difficult to picture New Earth, right? It's so difficult to picture a world without war, right? It's so difficult to picture, a time when we are living in peace and in harmony, and the earth is not polluted physically or energetically, right? So when you spend time with your soul family, when you spend time with other people like yourself, it does help to motivate you and make you think, make you be able to picture. It helps you to believe that, things will not always be this way, and that, there are other people like you, and that, your struggles are not in vain. Okay? So, if that makes sense to you, give me some fire in the chat. If y'all have questions, this is a great time for questions. Before we wrap it up, if you are wondering, um, you know, if you're still wondering what's preventing you from feeling motivated, if you have some particular struggle you want to talk about in that area, I can feel into that energy for you and maybe help you discover some answers. Um, but you guys, yeah, this feeling isolated was a major motivation killer for me. Major motivation killer for me. So glad that I have met a couple of friends along the way, and people who were literally just friends, sisters, right, along the way, and brothers along the way. That has been an amazing feeling and makes me feel, it does motivate me and it does help me to believe that all my struggling is not in vain. And people who are part of your soul family that you can talk to about things you're experiencing, they can also help you to connect the dots between the things that you're going through and help you make sense of it all. Connecting the dots between what you've been asking source creator God for and what's actually showing up in your life, that's a gift, y'all. That's a gift. Because a lot of times we're asking, oh, why is this happening? What's happening? Show me this, show me that. And then something shows up in your life, something new that you're like totally, utterly confused by. You're not connecting it to the question that you just asked. Right? When that thing is really your answer. You got to connect those dots. So one of the one of the aspects of soul family that I've been able to connect with and identify is what I mentioned before, the elemental soul, a group of content creators that were putting out information about aligning with their soul journey, and it's really good, and it really helps add to meaning and purpose in my life. Download it from your App Store or your Google Play Store. Let's see, we got a comment here. I'm an actor, and I know that is what I want to do. I want to create. That's my purpose. Recently, I've been wanting to give up. How do I find my self belief again and not let that go? This is a big one. So, you're an actor, right? Um, and I know that depending on your age, you may have grown up in a world that says, hey, actors have to look like this, be like this, um, be willing to compromise themselves in certain ways, um, whatever the challenge is for you, right? However, I would say if you want to be an actor, if you are an actor, there are so many ways now, so many avenues through which you can do that. If you have, and I'm just feeling into the energy here, I'm getting a sense that you've also been given a gift, another gift that complements acting, that would help you to create a space for yourself and not wait on someone to give you a role or an opportunity, but you're not fully using that gift. This could be that you are actually a writer or producer or some of some sort, right? There's some other gift that you have not been fully engaging with. If this rings a bell, let me know. Okay? Could it be that you have the ability to create a space for yourself, which is even more, it's scary. That's scary, right? But we're not given one singular, isolated gift without a complementary gift that goes along with it. Yes, that's resonating for you. Thank you for letting me know that. If you don't mind sharing with us what that gift is, that would be awesome. But we're not given a gift, one gift void of the other gift that we need to make the primary gift pop off. That doesn't happen. It is up to us to excavate, right? And cultivate that complementary gift or gifts, right? That so that we can do what we want to do. So if you have some other, it could be a gift of writing or a gift of networking. There's some other gift. Maybe you're really funny, very personable. There's something else that you can tie in with acting and use that to create a space for yourself. Okay, that's what's coming up in my spirit. Okay, so that example for me, um, you know, I have a few different gifts that kind of work together. Along with being an empath, what I love to do is just exactly what we're doing right here. You don't know the joy that it gives me just to give you one little answer, right? But along with being an empath, I mean, I'm not afraid to speak in front of people. I can write. I'm a good listener. You know, those are all examples of gifts that I use along with my gift of empathy, um, to utilize it to help other people and to align with my soul's journey, right? So, and we all have that. Anybody watching this, you also have complementary gifts, you know? And it floors me when some people say, well, I don't know what my gifts are. I don't have any gifts. I don't have a talent. Yes, you do. Everybody does. Everybody has something. Everybody has something. We're all here as expressions of God, Creator, Source. Why would you not have something to express? It don't make any sense. Maybe you've not um, maybe you weren't given the opportunity as a kid when you were growing up to discover that. But if you're now an adult, you have to take that opportunity. You have to create and make that opportunity to discover what your talent is. But you've got one. You've got more than one, right? You've got your primary gift, which is something that you do so naturally, you probably don't even realize it. And you have a complementary gift. Okay, this makes me think of my daughter. Gosh, she can cook. Oh my Lord. I wish she would start like a cooking channel, you know, because she's also really funny. She's so funny. And I don't know if she really appreciates the connection between those two, but she's got the gift of gab and she's funny as heck. Okay. All right, you guys. So I don't see more questions popping up, but thank you so much. Um, I feel like I'm gonna mess your name up if I try. Adrija Jane. Please, I'm sorry if that's wrong. But thank you so much for that comment and that question and letting me help you feel into that. All right, so I'll be back next week, you guys. And like I mentioned before, if you like spiritual content like this, check out the Elemental Soul. You can download it on your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. Once you subscribe and become a member, you'll also be a part of our private member community. So that's one of the things that makes it so awesome is you have opportunity to connect with other soul family and be less isolated on this journey. Maybe help you discover some more motivation. Okay, all right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back next Tuesday for another episode of Attract and Love Energy. Peace.